कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्री महागणपतये नमः। ॐ हंस हंसाय विद्महे परमहंसाय धीमहि तन्नो हंस प्रचोदयात्। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्त्रैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवतर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायु त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारम् अवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। जय श्री राम।
जय श्री राम।
भजन।
हे प्रभु आनंददाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए।
हे प्रभु आनंददाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए।
शीघ्र सारे दुर्गुणों को दूर हमसे कीजिए।
शीघ्र सारे दुर्गुणों को दूर हमसे कीजिए।
लीजिए हमको शरण में हम सदाचारी बने।
लीजिए हमको शरण में हम सदाचारी बने। ब्रह्मचारी धर्मरक्षक वीर व्रतधारी बने। हे प्रभु आनंददाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए।
प्रेम से हम गुरुजनों की नित्य ही सेवा करें।
प्रेम से हम गुरुजनों की नित्य ही सेवा करें।
सत्य बोले झूठ त्यागे नेह आपस में करें।
हे प्रभु आनंददाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए।
निंद किसी की हम किसी से भूल कर भी ना करें।
निंदा किसी की हम किसी से भूल कर भी ना करें। दिव्य जीवन हो हमारे यश तेरा गाया करें। हे प्रभु आनंददाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए।
शीघ्र सारे दुर्गुणों को दूर हमसे कीजिए। दूर हमसे कीजिए।
बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय।
Namaskar everyone and welcome to the Hindu Prachar Kendra's Sunday morning Satsang. It's always a joy to have you join us. We really appreciate you spending some of your valuable time with us, and we really appreciate even more all the encouraging comments and words that you continue to share with us week after week, especially over this last week, because I realized after our first session of Pitri Paksh last Sunday, many of you really enjoyed the heritage bhajans, and I was just telling everyone that I got about 16 requests and suggestions for different bhajans that we can sing. And some of you, I think, experienced nostalgia because you shared your childhood memories of going to school, of spending holidays by Aja and Aji, and they would be singing these traditional bhajans. And one person messaged me to say I didn't need to look at the copy because I knew everyone by heart. So it's really so beautiful to get that kind of feedback. Of course, we cannot honor all of these requests, but we'll certainly try to sing some of them and see how we can include them in our satsangs over the next few weeks, because you are important to us and we'd certainly like to fulfill your requests. We also have to be conscious that Navratri is going to come up in just about a month's time, so we have to get in gear for that as well, and we'll have to see what kind of restrictions will be in place and be guided accordingly, and I hope you are following all the guidelines. So this is our second Pitri Paksh session, and it would have been a very special morning for us at the Kendra, because it would have been our morning of the community Pitri Paksh, the community Tarpan, which we do at the Kendra every year, where we do the traditional offerings outside, the Tarpan Tilanjali offerings outside with all the appropriate mantras, and then we do the Havan and Gita Path on the inside, and everyone will bring the beautiful photographs of their departed ones, and we'd enjoy looking at them and remembering them and sharing stories. And we have been doing this at the Kendra since 1992. And it has been an unbroken tradition since then. Pitri Paksh is actually one of our longest projects, Vedaji, and we have been very consciously exploring Pitri Paksh through not just the traditional rituals, but through pravachan, through yajna, through panels and such activities. And more recently, we introduced a project called the Ancestral Agenda. And we had big plans this year to continue with that, but of course, we look forward to next year to execute those. But right now, we look forward to singing for you. So we will join in to do maybe just about 3 bhajans that you have requested. And while we are singing, if you do not have your Bhagavad-Gita with you, please, if you have one at home, you can get it to keep it with you so that you can join with us for the chapter 15 Bhagavad-Gita chanting at the end of Satsang. So very traditional, beautiful bhajan will be offered next. Darshan Do Ghanasham, very sweet, very lovely. And we are saying, oh Bhagwan, our eyes are thirsty to see you. And it's interesting because what? You are everywhere. You are everywhere, but I still can't see you. Oh Bhagwan, illumine my mind so that I can have your darshan. Please join in this beautiful bhajan, Darshan Do Ghanasham.
दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरे अखियाँ प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरे अखियाँ प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम मन मंदिर की ज्योति जगा दो मन मंदिर
घनश्याम नाथ मोरे अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो
मंदिर मंदिर मूरत तेरी फिर भी ना देखे सूरत तेरी
मंदिर मंदिर मूरत तेरी फिर भी न देखी सूरत तेरी
युग बीते नाय मिलन की
युग बीते नाय मिलन की
पूर्णमासी रे
दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरे अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम
द्वार दया का जब तू खोले पंचम सुर में गूंगा बोले
द्वार दया का जब तू खोले पंचम सुर में गूंगा बोले
अंधा देखे लहरा चलकर
अंधा देखे लंगड़ा चलकर
पंछी का शेरे
दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरे अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम
पानी पीकर प्यास बुझाओ नैनन को कैसे समझाओ
पानी पीकर प्यास बुझाओ नैनन को कैसे समझाओ
आँख में छोली छोड़ो अब तो
आँख में छोड़ी छोड़ो अब तो
मन की बासी रे
दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरे अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम
बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय. So sweet and so beautiful, and I know I am going to embarrass Shiromani ji, but yesterday only someone told me, why doesn't Shiro sing some more, because her voice is so beautiful, so I'm conveying that message. It's so lovely to hear you singing this. And we move on to Ek Din Hame Bhi Jana Hai, another very traditional bhajan. And listen, this is real philosophy in this bhajan. It's saying in a very simple way, a day will come when what? We will all have to leave this body, when we will all have to leave this world and go. This drama that is called life, is it for a long time? No. It's only for a short while. So, oh man, don't waste your time accumulating things. Not that we shouldn't have things. Accumulate that which we need, that which will serve us well. But let us not lapse and falter with our spiritual development and self-development. So be very conscious about how you live. So, ek din hame bhi jana hai. We join together.
एक दिन हमें भी जाना है,
एक दिन हमें भी जाना है।
जग चला जात है सारा, जग चला जात है सारा, इसका कौन ठिकाना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। खूब मौज कर देख तमाशा, खूब
मौज कर देख तमाशा,
खेलने को करनी है सो कर ले वंदे,
करनी है सो कर ले बंदे।
फिर नहीं आना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। कौड़ी कौड़ी करके जोड़ी,
कौड़ी कौड़ी करके जोड़ी,
भरा खजाना है। संग न जाए कर ले वंदे,
संग न जाए कर ले बंदे।
फिर पछताना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। जग चला जात है सारा, जग चला
जात है सारा,
इसका कौन ठिकाना है। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है।
बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की jai. And I hope all the persons who requested these bhajans that you all are viewing and enjoying and singing along with us. Now the next one is not really a heritage like an older bhajan, but requested a couple times, Jyoti Bindu. Many people love this bhajan, and it is very relevant. It talks about Jivatma meeting Paramatma. Well, that is like myself meeting myself, because Atman, okay? So, but really that consciousness, Jivatma, merging, being conscious, connecting with Paramatma. So let us always be conscious of our radiant self, of our pure self, of our auspicious self. If we can do this, life would become so much more worthwhile and beautiful. So we join in Jyoti Bindu Paramatma.
ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से है मेरी आत्मा, अब चल कर ले मिलन, अब चल कर ले मिलन, अब चल कर ले मिलन। ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से है मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन परमानंद का अनुभव कर परमानंद का अनुभव कर तू धन्य बना जीवन ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से है मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन प्रभु की प्राप्ति का मूल मंत्र है संपूर्ण समर्पण है आत्मा चल प्रभु को सौंप दे तू सारा जीवन ओ देख प्रभु तेरे निकट विराजे ओ देख प्रभु तेरे निकट विराजे कर ले अभिवादन ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से है मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन ज्योति बिंदु के प्रेम सिंधु में चल आज नहा ले परम पिता का प्रेम पत्र बनकर तू शुभ वर पाले ओ किरण किरण को निरख नयन से ओ किरण किरण को निरख नयन से हो जा मन में मगन ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से है मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन
बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय. When the singing is so beautiful, I sometimes feel like there should be no talking. Maybe we can do one session only of bhajans for one of the satsangs coming up sometime soon, and we'll be able to fulfill all of these requests. We'll see how we will plan as time goes along. So before getting into the pravachan and the new material for our second session on Pitri Paksh this morning, I need to recap some points from last week, and it's important for me to do this because I did move along a bit quick quickly. So it was a lot to grasp because it is new material. And even this morning, there is a lot to share because there are so many levels and so many dimensions of Pitri Paksh. You know, everything about ourselves, it is embedded in Pitri Paksh. So there is really a lot to share, and we'll see how much we can get through this morning. Whatever we are not able to do, we'll just continue into next week. Although I said 2 sessions, maybe we'll need a 3rd session. So I want to remind you and recap some of the ideas that we looked at. First, at the very beginning, Pitri Paksh is not about ghosts. It's not about spirits. It's not about the taboos and notions we have about death and about the dead. And it is certainly not an inauspicious period. This is a time that we can use and that we should use for meaningful reflection and contemplation, because our sadhana should be further empowered during this time. We do not cease, we do not stop our nitya karmas and what we are accustomed to doing every day for our self-development and our spiritual development. And the ideas we shared last week urged us to engage in the rituals, but to also see beyond the rituals, which are often misunderstood, and we should also appreciate the symbolism so that we can connect to a higher purpose. Now, we saw the example of Bhagwan Shri Ram. When he received the news of his father's passing, he was already in Banvas. And Bharat and, of course, the gurus, the queen mothers, they had all come to Banvas to ask Prabhu Shri Rama to return to Ayodhya. He had no idea that his father had passed. So when he received the news, Bratu nirambu tehi dina prabhu kinha munihi kahe jalu kahuna linha kadipitu kriya bera jasi bharani bhe punita pataka tamatarani. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. What did this verse tell us? What does it say? Shri Rama's own grief when he heard of his father's passing, it was tremendous. He felt quite broken. He felt a lot of pain, as we all do when we have to experience, or when we experience the death of someone who is near and dear to us. But there's something very important to note. After doing the vrata nirambu, after doing the tarpan, the rituals, that feeling of stability returned. He no longer felt as though broken. He didn't feel that terrible pain. And it was as though that helped him to heal and to understand what he should do. So grief was replaced with a sense of purpose and transformation. And that is why we could have that outcome, and he could make a decision that I must stay in Banvas. Why such a decision? Why did he decide that? Very clear. One should never falter and shirk the responsibility to protect and to advance the kulariti, or the lineage, or our inheritance. We are supposed to make it even better. Whatever we are going to pass on, it should be better than what we received. And we chanted the Tamva Etamahu last week, that instruction from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, may you go beyond the achievement of your Pitris and pass on a brighter flame. We also looked at the prized position our civilization has given to our Pitris. They have a Paksh, a fortnight before weddings, before any major undertaking, we remember them. This period is there because it provides us with an opportunity for a kind of undisturbed focus on our ancestry, on our lineage, and we'll see some more about this point towards the end. So we had finished up satsang where we were looking at the 2 words, Pitri and Paksh. And we saw that there are different categories of Pitris. We saw the hierarchy when we looked briefly at the Tarpan Vidhi, when we are making the offerings. We start from the family, from right within our family, but we expand ourselves. We expand our consciousness, and we go all the way up to the Devas, to Bhagwan. And we saw in Bhagavad-Gita, Bhagwan Krishna says what? I am Aryama, Pitranam Aryama Chasmi, Yama Sanyamatamaham. Among the Pitris, I am Aryama. I am foremost. I am the one who is there at the head. And amongst the rulers, I am whom? I am Yama. So our Pitris are not to be feared. Death is not to be feared, and certainly Yamaraj is not to be feared. And we looked at the child. This is where we had reached. The child Nachiketas, the Upanishadic child Nachiketas, who was fearless in Yamalok, fearless to go, unafraid, went there willingly after he was dan kared. I have to say dan kared. When you give in dan, you are supposed to give the best. Who better to give than Nachiketas? And I did get a message. Someone said they had never heard this katha before, never heard about Nachiketas. So I encourage you to read. You can research. Books are available. You know, we go on Google also to search for information. So you can look up Nachiketas. You can look at Katha Upanishad, and you could read some more about this child. And why were we looking at this child? The scenario is yajna this was the finishing step of yajna, where dan has to be given. And when we are given dan, we should give within our means what we can afford, but give the best. Give that which is going to be of service and be helpful. And the father was giving some very unhealthy cows. And this child Nachiketa saw that, and he said to his father, Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pare. Oh father, remember how those who have gone before behaved. This is during Pitri Paksh, what we are also being called on to remember. So the father, a little annoyed, he said, well, who will you give me to? The child wants, who will you give me to? And what did the father say? I give you to Yama. So to Yamalok, this child journeyed and went there. Why was this child, Nachiketas, concerned? Because he wants to what? Uphold and uplift and what? Improve on the inheritance. And it's the same thing with Shri Rama. Shri Ram is making it what? Better. So that something better can be passed on. But for this to happen, it requires a special type of sacrifice, a special type of giving of oneself. And this is what is true yajna. You know, if we can see life as the yajna itself, if we can understand that our very living is the offering, then life would be awesome and this world can be truly transformed. Of course, this is dependent on our choices and on Paksh, or what we know as Pak, Pitar Pak, the Bhojpuri word. What is Paksh or what is Pak? We saw this briefly. We know it's a fortnight, but it also is about whose side you are going to take. If you look up this word, you will see this. What will you stand for? Whose side will you be on? What will you choose? And we are always confronted with the dvandvas, with the pairs of opposite, truth and untruth. Which side will you take? Which paksh will you take? Morality and immorality. Which paksh, which side will you take? Knowledge and ignorance, virtue and vice, love and hate, dharma and adharma. Which paksh, which side will you take? Will you and I be like Duryodhan? Duryodhan, that's a perfect example. I always enjoy using this example because it really tells of our human condition. Where Duryodhana says to Bhagwan Krishna, I know what is dharma and I also know what is adharma. But he has to what? Choose a side. He has to take a Paksh. He unfortunately takes the Paksh, or the side of adharma. And we know when that happens, there will be destruction. So Pitri Paksh is asking us to take the side of our ancestors, to choose them, to choose their values, to choose the side of dharma, to choose Shri Rama's side, to choose Shri Krishna's side. Now see this, when choosing a side, we have a real special guru in the form of Yamaraj. Okay? Because in Katha Upanishad, Yamaraj is the teacher. He is the one teaching and imparting the knowledge to the child Nachiketas. Because Nachiketas was given some boons. I'm not giving all the details, okay? Given some boons by Yamaraj, and he could make some special requests, and these will be granted to him. And one of those boons that he requested, he said to Yamaraj, I want to know what happens after death. Right? When that question is asked, this is the very verse that comes after. The very verse that comes after. Yamaraj doesn't really answer it, but he gives an important instruction about Paksh, about the side, about the choice that you should make. And if you make such a choice, why worry about after death? This is the idea. So what is Yamaraj in the role of Guru teaching us about this? This is in the chapter 2, and it's the second verse. Sreyascha preyascha manushyametaha tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha shreyo hi dhiro bhi preyaso vrinite preyo mando yogakshemar vrinite. What is it saying? The human being is approached by two options. What are these two options? The good and the pleasant. The Sreyas and the Preyas. These are the words of Yamaraj to the child Nachiketa, and all of us are learning. Now that we don't know this, we know it. These are reminders. So listen to what he says. The wise one, the one who is wise, examines these two options thoroughly, is very discerning between these two parts, and prefers the good to the pleasant. Not that the good isn't pleasant sometimes. Sometimes the good can be quite pleasant as well, okay? So take the context. And then he says, the ignorant one chooses the pleasant for the sake of enjoyment only, and often it's because it's quite easy. It's the easier one. So such a choice is often associated with selfishness, the prayer's choice, and a lack of concern for the other. And that is not the Hindu way. That is not the way of our Pitris. Now, I want to share this with you. This particular verse, it is so relevant to us now, and let us see how. I am always amazed and fascinated by how our Hindu world provides answers for our many human issues and conditions and conflicts and circumstances. All the solutions are there. We just have to earnestly seek them out. How many of you find it pleasant to wear a mask? Is it pleasant to wear a mask? No. Huh? But what is the good thing? See the choice right here. The prayers and the sreyas. You have to wear it because it's the right thing. It's the good thing to do. Social distancing. Look, when we satsangis meet up, what? We like to meet each other and hug and embrace and all of that. No, we sit far apart. We eat far apart and all of that. Is that pleasant? No. It's difficult, but it's what? It's the good thing. So the sreyas and the prayers in this pandemic, we have to make that choice also. It's so relevant to us. And you know what? If we make the prayers choice, we will fall prey to COVID. That's P-R-E-Y. And when that happens, we will have to P-R-A-Y. Okay, so be very conscious. How beautiful our tradition is. So the prayers is mostly about the now, about me. It makes me enjoy for now. It doesn't think of the future. It's sort of selfish. But the Shreyas, it is about the future. It makes us sacrifice for later on. Listen, if our Pitris didn't make Shreyas choices, if they didn't sacrifice for us, we are the later on, you know. But think of it. What will be the later on down the road? What are we making? So our Pitris gave us a world of possibilities. We have to choose wisely, live wisely, live consciously, so that we can pass on something better for the future generations. So I want to go back to the Tarpan scene where we were looking at Prabhu Shri Rama, because we find or we discover there's a demonstration of the most critical ingredient for us to truly experience Pitri Paksh and all these ideas that we are sharing. It's actually the root of the matter. The kush root of the matter, because yeah, I'm just being, so the kush root, actually the kush root is very firm, so yes, very correct, that's the critical thing. But I will honor one request to sing Rama Rama Bhaju Rama Ram, so you can just have a little relaxed time to just reflect on what we've shared so far, and then we'll look at Prabhu Sri Rama, this critical ingredient in this whole process. So Rama Rama Bhaju Rama Ram, we praise that one who continues. He is Madhyara Purushottama Ram, ideal in every way, and shows us how to live. Jai Shri Ram! Together.
Ram Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Shri Ram Nama Varane Ram Ram Bhaju Ram Ram Bhaju Ram Ram Bhaju Ram 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 Siya Ram Bhaju Ram Ram Siya Ram Bhaju Ram Ram Siya Ram Bhaju Ram Ram Siya Ram 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 Bhaju Ram Ram Bhaju Ram Ram Bhaju Ram
Ram Ram Siya Ram Bhaj le Ram Ram Siya Ram Bhaj Ram Ram Siya Ram Bhaj Ram Ram Siya Ram
धर्म काज पृथ्वी पर आए दशरथ जी के पुत्र कहाए
पुत्र कहाए पुत्र कहाए
जनकपुरी में शिव धनु तोरा सती सिया संग नाता जोरा
नाता जोरा नाता जोरा
सिया पिया बन राम प्रभु कहलाए सीता राम भजु राम राम सिया राम भजु राम राम सिया राम 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 भजु राम राम भजु राम राम भजु राम
राम राम सिया राम भज ले राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम
पिता वचन के पालनहारे राजपाट तग बन को सिधारे
मन को सिधारे मन को सिधारे
विश्वामित्र यज्ञ रखवाले सती अहिल्या तारनहारे
तारनहारे तारनहारे
पंचवती को बना दिया एक राज धर्म का धाम भज राम राम सिया राम भज
Ramachandra ki jai. So that Prabhu Shri Rama whom we just praised, and that bhajan of course describes all the beautiful kathas in Ramcharitmanas. That Prabhu Shri Rama, this is what is written in that katha, that episode just after the Tarpan offering. What does it say? Well, actually not just after, just before. Shraddha Bhagati Sameta Prabhu. What's the first word? Shraddha. The second word? Bhagati, Bhakti. Shraddha Bhagati, Bhakti Sameta Prabhu. With faith and devotion, Shri Ram performed the Tarpan ritual according to the Guru's instruction. So let's see this word, Shraddha. And I am sharing a verse from the Brahma Purana. Deshe kale cha patre cha shraddhaya vidhina chayat pitanudrishya viprebhyo dattam shraddham udahritam. So we, two words, shraddhaya, shraddha, and shraddham. So what does this verse say? After choosing or preparing and organizing a particular place, a space, a time, and a venue, the offerings made with complete faith, with shraddha, and accompanied by all the rites that are performed in the name of, or performed to honor, or performed for the well-being of the Pitris, that is called Shraddha. So the whole range of rituals that we do when someone has passed, it is called Shraddha. Okay, where we honor, we remember, we pay tribute to them. And during Pitri Paksh time, of course, we connect to all of this and we remember. So to truly do Shraddha, there must be what? Shraddha. To truly do Shraddha, to truly honor the Pitris, there must be Shraddha. Now, if I am Shraddha, very good, you all are listening, good students, okay, Shraddha. So we generally translate this, Viraji, as faith. Right? We'll say faith, but you know, we are caught by English words and terms because they are really limited in conveying the total meaning of so many of our concepts. There are many. When we say Atma, Atma is soul. That's not even correct, you know. So we have, of course, this issue. So yes, we say faith, but faith is multi-layered, okay? It's not something that is just on the surface. It runs very deep. So let's see the word very quickly. I may take a 5 minutes more in the satsang today. I usually like to be very punctual with time. So I'll ask you for 5 minutes more. So Shrat. Shrat means the heart. And the Dha means to place. Okay? So I place the bell, or I put the bell. When I put it, what? There's no, it's very stable, so it's well placed. It's well put. There's no shaking, there's no movement. So this is what is Shraddha. When something is well placed, it's deeply entrenched in the heart. So see all of these different layers and levels, okay? So it's about a longing of the heart. But it's not really the heart. It's about the mind. Again, we are caught by saying what? I love you with all my heart. I really love you with all my mind. Okay, well, so many components of the mind also. So this is what it is. So there is a longing for some end, for something. It also involves trust. I trust in something. It involves confidence. It involves conviction. And of course, desire. So all of these what? It is what? Shraddha is. So it's not just faith. So many levels. So this is why whatever we are doing, it cannot be an empty act that lacks feeling and purpose. Shri Ram showed us the feeling, Shraddha Bhagati, with love and devotion. Now when these components are there, through Pitri Paksh, we can make some very beautiful links and connections. Let's see it very quickly. We connect from the immediate to the ultimate. We saw this from within our own family. Our family of Pitris, to what? To the ultimate, to the absolute. We connect from the intimate, that which is within our own self, very close and near and dear to us, to the ultimate. We always chant Purnamada Purnamidam. We connect from the idam, this, to what? Ada, to Dath. Okay? Raviji gave me this one. Here to Vaha. Right? From here to there. See how we expand. And we have done this one a few times when looking at Ravan. We move from Brahm, which is confusion, to Brahma, which is what? Consciousness. This is Pitri Paksh. This is how Pitri Paksh can help us to move and connect through our Shraddha and through Shraddha. So here is something very revealing from the Taittiriya Upanishad. How important are your Pitris? If you have to place them, you know, we have the hierarchy. I want you to see this. Shantaji, we did this in camp, and somehow I never picked up on this before, but you know, when you're looking and your mind is in a certain mood, these things strike you. So this is from the Shishya Anushasana, where the Guru is giving the advice to the students who have spent the full time in the ashram and they are now going out into the world. Several important life lessons are given, instructions, over 20 of them. And it starts with Satyam Vada. The first one, what? Speak the truth. So many such instructions are there. Now, before even we reach to Matri Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, or Pitri Devo, or Atithi Devo Bhava, very bright students today. See the line that comes first. Deva Pitri Karya Bhyan na Pramaditavyam. Before Matri, before mother, before father, before Acharya, before the guest, Deva Pitri Karya Bhyan na Pramaditavyam. Never swerve from your duty to God and to the Pitris. It's put first. Before our own parents. Why? If there were no Pitris, we'd have no parents. We won't be here. This is why it's so correct. And then it continues even later down, Shraddhaya Deyam, Ashraddhaya Deyam, Shriya Deyam, Riya Deyam. When you are given gifts, and give doesn't mean things, you know. Not things. Whatever you are giving, whatever you are doing, whether in the name of the Pitris, for whatever purpose, it says here clearly, Shraddhaya Deyam. Give with faith. Never give without faith. And when you are giving, give with humility and give with compassion. Now, to emphasize how important our Pitris are, this is the last point for today. So they have a whole Paksh, right? They get 14 days or 15 days, right? Yogi, that's plenty. Last week we saw they get even more than Ganesh Baba. Wrong. Very wrong. Because they get every day of our lives. Because in the Pancha Mahayagya that we are supposed to be doing every day, again it comes, Deva Yagya, the 5 Yagyas. Then, once you honor the Devas, Pitri Yagya. You remember the ancestors. And we have acknowledged the Rin. Rina is the debt, D-E-B-T. that we owe to them. So they don't have only these 14, 15 days. They have, as I said, every day. So, see, we need to learn all of this. This is why we have to pursue knowledge and really understand our tradition and appreciate the values. It's so relevant, so important. I was just thinking, I was talking to Ravi and I said, gee, when I'm reading some of these messages and talking to some of these people, you can tell of the love and the nostalgia for an era gone by. Like there's a longing for it. And these are the values that made that time so beautiful, because people honored the devas, honored the Pitris. There was caring for the all of creation and kindness to human beings and pursuit of knowledge. So let us every single day remember our Pitris and live well and live consciously. I really hope that these 2 sessions that we have done, it's a lot of material, but the value of technology is that you can go back and look at something if you're not sure and if you feel you've missed something. But we really wanted to give you a deeper appreciation of Pitri Paksh, and we hope that we have been able to do that. May we always be committed and motivated to honor our Pitris in the best of ways. And in their name, in their honor, we chant chapter 15 of the Bhagavad-Gita. So I ask you to follow along in your Bhagavad-Gita copies, all those you wish to remember and you wish to pray for. And of course, all those who are facing difficulty. So many persons are ill, so many persons have passed on because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We remember everyone. We ask Bhagwan Krishna's grace and blessing. So this is chapter 15 of Bhagavad-Gita. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Panchadashodhyayah. Shri Bhagavanuvāca. Urdhva Mūlam Madhashākham Ashvatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit Adhaschodhvam Prasritastasya Shaka Guna Pravidha Vishaya Pravalaha Adhascha Mūlanyanusantatani Karmanubandhini Manushaloke Narupamasyeha Tathopalabhyate Nanto na chadir na cha sampratishta Ashvatthamenam suvirudhamulam Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva Tatapparam tatparimargitavyam Yasminggatana nivartanti bhuyah Tameva charyam purusham prapadye Yata pravritte prasrita purani Nirmana mohajita sangadosha Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha Dvandvair vimukta sukha dukha sangyai Gacchantya mudha paramavyayam tat Na tad bhasayate suryaha Na shashanko na pavakaha Yadgatva na nivartante Tadhama paramam mama Mamaivamsho jivaloke Jivabhuta sanatanaha Manashasthani indriyani Prakritisthani karshati Shri Ram yaravapnoti Yachapyutkramati shvaraha Grihitvaitani sanyati Vayurgandhani vashayat Shrotram chakshus parshanam cha Rasanam granam cha Adhishtaya manasyayam Vishayanupasevate Utkramantam stitam vapi Bhunjanam vagunanvitam Vimudhananupashyanti Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha Yatanto yoginasyainam Pashyantyatmanyavastitam Yatanto pyakritatmanaha Nainam pashyantya chetasaha Yaraditya gatam tejaha Jagadbhasayate khilam Yachandramasi yachagnau Tattejo vidhimamakam Gama vishya cha bhutani Dharayam yahamojasa Pushnami chaushadhi sarva Somo bhutva rasatmakaha Aham vaishvanaro bhutva Praninam dehamashritaha Pranapana samayuktaha Pachamyannam chaturvidam Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishtaha Matasmritir jnanam apohanancha वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहं द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमपुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य बिभर्तव्यय ईश्वरः यस्माच्चरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवं सम्मूढः जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविर्भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत। ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्म विद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे पुरुषोत्तमयोगो नाम पंचदशोऽध्यायः। हरिः ओम। बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। We join in closing mantras. We pray for everyone. We pray for everything. And we pray for peace to be everywhere. Om Durjano Sajano Bhuyat Sajana Shanti Mapnuyat Shanto Muchet Bandhebhyo Mukta Shanyan Vimochayet Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahi Mahisha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Dyav Shantirantariksha Om Shanti Prithvi Shantirapah Shantir Aushadaya Shantir Vanaspataya Shantir Vishve Deva Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvagam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantirehi. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om। प्रेम से और जोर से बोलिए गजानन स्वामी की, श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की, उमापति महादेव की, जगदम्बे माता की, पवन सुत हनुमान की, सियापति रामचंद्र की, गोस्वामी तुलसीदास की, त्रिनिदाद और टोबैगो देश की। बोलिए श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। जय जय सीताराम। Thank you for joining us for Satsang this morning. We've gone just a few minutes over, and I hope you are receiving and following the daily posts that are being done by member organizations of the Varsh Pratipada Sansad. This is a project that started the National Yagya for Enlightened Citizenship, started on independence, and it's going all the way up to the Republic morning when there'll be a special program with Havan and inspirational talks. So there are releases every day on enlightened citizenship. So we hope you are following them and that you will also join us on Republic morning for that special program. Have a blessed week, everyone, and we will see you all again on Sunday morning next week. Jai Shri Ram. Namaskar.